Come here, you.
Yeah, mate. Oh, always a good time.
I just live for this shit at this point.
This is probably. Oh, but I definitely shouldn't say it's my favorite part of the week.
But it is.
But it is a
But
good.
it is.
It's a good time.
And also, I don't know. There you go. Thanks for coming, though.
Thanks for coming. Shall we get this started?
Quick game's a good game. Timer's on. 3, 2, 1, on.
Welcome
Back.
back to the new podcast. I see what you're doing up.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do that. We could try. Do you want to see how long we can go?
Welcome
Back
to
the
newest
episode
of
the
Split
Shift
Podcast.
Cast.
Introducing
Jamie
and
Danny.
new
Episode
is
Excuses.
don't
Come
to
the
oh shit.
Let's go. I know it.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about excuses today.
Yeah.
So welcome to the new episode.
Thank
Glad
you.
you were part of that. We do actually genuinely want to make this a quickie because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. In talk about excuses. Everyone falls for excuses, right? People are always about the excuses. It's always going to be there.
It is the reason people achieve or do not achieve results.
Exactly. Always
In general, realistically, and there are things that are always going to be there, regardless of how far you are along your journey. You could be just starting out. You could have been through a few weight loss attempts, whatever, yo-yoed a few times. Regardless of how far you are along your journey to that ideal version of yourself that we speak about all the time, those excuses are going to remain the same along the way. It's all about how you actually deal with them. And that's what we're going to chat about today.
Absolutely.
How you deal with the excuses that are inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, it's excuses are always going to be there, and you're always going to be presented. I always going to keep mentioning it's always that fork in the road, right? So you always will be presented with an opportunity to go some direction, and excuses is one of those forks in the road that you always come up against. And we can obviously think of it as excuses can be negative. Sometimes excuses can be positive in a way too. We should look a little bit later. But looking at it more on the side of excuses is how it's a detriment for our goals. What is the biggest thing when it comes to excuses? How and why? How much does it derail people's progress?
Well, at the end of the day, you have habits you want to do, you want to execute, you have actions you want to execute day to day, week to week. When an excuse comes up as to why you can't execute that thing, and you side on the side of accepting that excuse for what it is and running with it and making that be the determining factor as to you not executing that thing, that's when it gets fucked up. The excuses are going to be there. Like I said earlier, the excuses are not going anywhere. They're staying there. It's about how we approach that. So the first thing that we need to make sure that we're doing is making sure that we have that compelling why. That compelling reason why we actually want the thing in the first place. If you don't know why you want the result, and at the same time, if you do not want it enough or it's not compelling enough to you, when that excuse comes up, it's game over.
Yeah,
you're siding with that excuse.
Exactly right. And I think we always talk about how you can bring power back to yourself, that level of control back to yourself. If you rise above your excuses, you will always find a way to get the work done. You'll always find a way to complete, the task that you do, even though you don't want to do it, which really stems into things like discipline, drive, and all that stuff, determination to want to get the task done. It is definitely one of those things where when we're relating to excuses, it's the ability of how much power you want to give to yourself at the end of the day. The less power, therefore more excuses, therefore there's a higher risk of you just not achieving your goal at the end of the day. That why is everything. We drill the power of the why so much with obviously ourselves, with our clients, is reminding us what's the point of this in the first place. Why do it? and peeling back those layers, going down looking a little bit deeper. The deeper the why, the bigger the reason that you want to do it. Therefore, those excuses become absolutely irrelevant because we know that I'm like, this isn't just a why of what's a typical one? Look good, feel good, right? This is like Jamie's why. This is Dan's why. This is definitely their words and this is their true beliefs on why they want to achieve something. Hence why they're going to fucking get it done.
It's individual, compelling to the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. So having that compelling why is number one. If you don't have that, then that is your number one priority from day dot, from the get-go. What I would suggest, maybe we'll even link it in the description, but go back, check our video on creating your own compelling why. Because everybody's got one. Everybody's got a reason why you want to do the thing, particularly if you're on your third, fourth, fifth, sixth attempt at getting the weight loss, getting the body composition change, getting the lifestyle change, whatever it is. If you have had multiple attempts, then there is a reason why you keep going and putting yourself through that bullshit to achieve it. The next thing that I want to get across when we're talking about dealing with your excuses, this is a little bit more tangible, is how you actually talk to yourself and how you actually, the language you use when that excuse comes up. So it's about replacing I can't with how can I still, or how can I? So if the thing is like, it's raining outside, so now I can't go for my walk. Let's replace that with, oh, it's raining outside. How can I still get my walk done? How can I still get my cardio in? Even that one small little shift, even though it sounds small, how much more powerful does that how can I sound?
Massively.
Compared to like I can't.
Massively. Massively. Same as like, you're having those, it's what's called neutral-based questions. So it doesn't give you a definitive like ending of say, if you just say I can't, it's pretty much self-defeating. It's over. Like, you can't create solutions from there. But if you have that neutral, if you ask yourself a healthy neutral question of like, well, how can I? Or what can I do? Hows and what's such a powerful, just changing how we speak about ourselves to be able to say, okay, if I can't, or if I couldn't, how can I? Or if what do I need to do? So you always have to find an angle. This can be wired well. Like this is something that is like, it's pretty it's like skill based in a way, because the more that you do it, the more that your brain is also thinking of just like, okay, roadblock or barrier, sweet, what do I need to do? Roadblock, sweet, what do I need to do? If we're wired to think and just saying, I can't, you're always going to be met with that ending of just like bang, done, start again. Oh, bang, done, start again, right?
You're in that constant loop forever.
Yeah.
It's whatever becomes your normal. If your normal is I ask questions to myself and to my lifestyle that are, more open and I'm open to another possibility rather than repeating what I've done forever, that's when you can start making real change. So first step, make sure you got your why. Second step, make sure that you're replacing the I can'ts with how can I still. Then from there, I would like people, and I get my clients to be more proactive. So whenever we set a goal around a habit or a goal around an action that they want to execute or whatever they need to do weekly, daily, monthly, map out exactly what excuses have come up in the past in that area. Map out what obstacles are definitely going to come up. What obstacles could come up? What excuses could you have? What obstacles could you have? What could be a roadblock that could come up along the way? Write down exactly what the habit is. Write down all the possible roadblocks, all the possible excuses you have. Then from there, write down exactly how you can cut them out, how you can get around each obstacle, how you can defeat each obstacle. So that way you have a plan for every single time. Exactly like you just said. Have that plan. So if it is raining, I need to go for my walk. My habit is I need to go for the walk. If it starts raining, I know that's been a thing in the past. I've always, as soon as it rains, I just don't do my walk. Okay, what's my plan B? So I know that. Okay, walk, now it's raining, I go to the gym on the treadmill. Or walk, now it's raining, I need to go on the spin bike for half an hour and get my heart rate up, or go to a group class. Or having those plan Bs for each little area, for every single roadblock or excuse that you have is key. If you can be proactive, then you can actually start making progress so that not listening to your excuses, not necessarily not listening to your excuses, but not giving them the energy or not having that as an option to stop, that becomes your new normal. As soon as that becomes your new normal, that can be your new lifestyle, then you can have results forever.
For sure. No, it's 100%. It's acknowledgement, but also recognition, like with acknowledging that you are, a human being, you are going to be facing with these obstacles, and but also recognizing yourself as well through the process when it's like, okay, when the next time it comes around, don't have, you can always have one solution, but having multiple solutions, how much more power does that have to your, okay.
We are also still playing
We are
chess,
still playing chess.
just so you know.
Yeah, I have to backpedal this one a little bit.
Well, you're running away from little pawnies.
Yeah.
Let's go. Dude, they'll get you. They'll get you.
Well, yeah, so like definitely like, and this becomes, of course, falls back to under self-awareness, right? I think,
Yes.
and you opening the possibility of wanting to learn more about yourself as well, definitely can be, you can cut yourself off by the legs essentially when you say those I can'ts, or you feel like, you're not open towards the possibility of wanting to learn more about your habits or your patterns, or just owning that there's probably going to be failures on the way. Someone's that's aiming too high, that someone's always needs to be that perfectionist. So you're missing that opportunity to be able to learn something to say, okay, well, when it comes around again, which 100% will, because we know it's never linear, but when it does, you'll know how to approach it strategically for the next time, where it's going to benefit your goals, it's going to benefit your lifestyle as well. So things are becoming a lot more realistic, and you're reducing a lot of those things, like those negative emotions around the feeling of failure that people do get, which is guilt, shame, breaking apart that identity again, like all those other things that plays with our subconscious mind and stuff like that. You're severing that cycle from there, and looking at the opportunity of like, okay, what can I take away from this? What can I learn from this? How can I do this better for the next time? And that's a great way of just to build a healthy learning with yourself and your own habits, stuff like that.
You're good.
I just went down the wrong hole. Hang on.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think one of the biggest things as well is when it comes to excuses is people are always waiting until those excuses go away. Like I said earlier in our chat today, those excuses that you have now are always going to be there. They might not be there in the exact same way they are now. Maybe work's really crazy or whatever's going on for you at the time. They're always going to be there. It will show up in a different way. Maybe the kids are going mental. Maybe, one of the kids is sick, or there's always going to be some level of excuse regardless of where you are along that journey.
For sure.
When you look at that version of yourself that's achieved all the results that you want, it could be somebody or somebody else, or even just looking at yourself in those shoes. Those excuses are always going to be there. It's all about how you actually deal with them. So making sure that you are proactive, making sure that you do understand how to talk to yourself, how to communicate with yourself, and you know how to act in alignment with your values.
Yes.
Because a lot of those excuses that you and I think we spoke about this in an episode recently, how I can't remember what the episode was, but working aligned with your values along the lines of things that come up, so if
Sacrifice, I think.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're sacrificing things regardless of whether you know it or not, and it's always going to be aligned with what your values are. So understand that some excuses will hit you a little harder than others. Don't just brush them off like they don't matter, because they do matter. Every excuse is still valid, but your results don't care about your excuses. Yeah. The excuse of it being raining outside is valid. It is fucking raining, and it's going to be shit if you walk out there without an umbrella, But your results do not care if it's fucking raining.
It's true.
Your results do not care how tired you are. Your results do not care if you feel a bit sick or fucking whatever. They're all valid. It's all fucking true. It doesn't care if you're fucking stressed at work. It doesn't care. They don't care.
It's true.
The results are you're either going to achieve the results or you're not. It doesn't matter.
No, that's exactly
It's
right.
all about how you handle it.
It's all about how you handle it. It's just it's knowing that, you're like, your goals at the end of the day just do not care. And we're not going to go all Goggins on you. They're just like, there is no excuses. And I think I actually wanted to really, bring this on to you, because I've only been thinking about it literally through our chat. And the thing about mainly this week is when excuses can be actually a little viable. This is a bit of an interesting one. I want your take on this one, because I wonder if you can agree with me on this one. When are excuses actually seemingly valid? When you need to give yourself a leeway? I came across this recently with a couple of clients, and they've been working themselves to the bone. They've been training really hard. They've been doing all the right targets, but it's been hitting to a point where they're getting like a diminishing return. They're starting to get less and less out because they're putting more out. At what point do we say, can we excuse ourselves to reduce or to, put our priorities into other obligations rather than just be like, don't just about your goals and goals and goals and like this, and always focusing on the action-based stuff, which is going to get you the result. What I'm trying to say is that when you're feeling like you're at your, you're working like you're on the other side and you're working really hard. So maybe this is not relatable to people that saying like they give them excuses to not do the task when they should be. It's when you're doing the task too much or you're doing things too overdrive and you're wearing yourself down to the bone. I think the biggest thing when it comes to excuses is that honoring a viable excuse at the benefit that it's going to help you bigger long term is an important thing to recognize as well. One of my examples is that, one of my clients is been training a lot frequently, kills it in training, like really tracks their food all the time, adherent to the bone, but is fucked, is sore, burnt out, right? Like just hasn't been feeling, energized, feeling good. And I feel like when you're in that, that momentum, and you'll feel that momentum when you're coming around, you're in the groove, you're pumping, getting it done, you're seeing progress, all that stuff. There always will hit a point that needs to be some level of consolidation, where there needs to be a period where you're just like, that momentum will have to slow down. And this is where we can also need to kind of like take that step back again and rationally think about, where is this my excuse that I may need to give to myself, even though it kind of goes against my values of don't want to, I know I like skipping the gym today is not going to, is not against my values, because I actually want to train hard, or like, if I go for that, not going for that walk and get my steps up, well, what now? It's a matter of like, with this person in particular, we had to take a calculative step back to say, if you gave yourself the excuse of don't train today, or don't train tomorrow, and maybe just don't do your steps. Yes, it's going against their set obligations of what they want to do, but looking bigger, what is it going to benefit you the most? Is that excuse going to benefit you in the terms of like, okay, you're going to feel more recovered and you can be able to bounce back harder and you'll be rested, ready to go? Or will it be actually something that's detrimental towards your goal, where, it's just like, you might be falling under a pattern or something like that? So I wanted your take on this. What's your thoughts on that? So knowing when to draw the line, where to say, you know what, if you're going to overdrive, you're going too into it, and everything, like things start becoming more of a diminishing return, can we allow ourselves to give ourselves that excuse to say, no, I need to pull back because I know it's going to benefit me later. Now, this is not an excuse in itself to say, no, I can just go and fucking, because Dan said, you should take the day off of training because you don't feel like it. Not saying that either. It's when you have to know, like, okay, if I think bigger than that session, or maybe that steps or whatever it is, will that rest and recovery or whatever it may be, or even just like, just to detox and have a couple drink with friends to just clear my head, will that benefit me more than like long term and make me feel be able to bounce back even more? So it's kind of flipping the coin of an excuse where it's usually negative, but how can we apply that to more in a positive sense? I'm interested to know your thoughts on that. I've only been thinking about it this week. So
yeah. No, I think the way you explain that just then in particular is almost, I would look at that as almost the opposite of an excuse.
Yeah.
Almost the opposite of, what we were sort of talking about earlier. And that's all exactly what you just said, calculated.
Yeah.
It's all calculated. And when somebody's in pursuit of a result, be it body composition, be it getting stronger, I want to hit X amount of gym sessions to be able to, get this physique, or, run fast, or whatever it is about looking at the big picture. So if you're taking days off or taking a week off the gym or doing a deload, if somebody is in that sort of momentum base and they're killing it, they've got these habits and that's part of their lifestyle, having a deload or having that excuse, like you just said, to not do it is almost harder than going to the gym for a lot of people, because it has become so deeply ingrained as part of their lifestyle. That's almost part, like an essential part of somebody's process,
Always.
Be it a deload, be it, time off the gym, be it a little mental shift, so that it doesn't become completely obsessive, unless that is to be your whole life. The issue with things becoming completely obsessive in your life is that if shit goes wrong, if you get injured or whatnot, and you're not ready for that, you can fall off fucking completely. That's when we start becoming all or nothing. So having times where you do shift your focus into other areas of your life where you might focus on your kids, you might focus on your work, you might focus on these other areas, and then just coming back down to that baseline where you're still clicking along. You're not going backwards. You're still clicking along. That's crucial. But yeah, I wouldn't even look at that as an excuse. I would look at that as just a part of the process. But I understand why people would potentially look at that as an excuse to, oh, I'm just a pussy. You know, my trainer told me I need to do a bit less, this, that, or the other, gone too hard. 100%. If they're in that mindset where it's fucking go, 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 and you tell them, all right, we actually got to fucking back this shit off a little bit.
Yeah,
You can understand how that can fuck with somebody's mind, and they can feel like they're making excuses, or they're feeling like they're forced to, you know, give energy to those excuses, which they've always thought is bad.
No,
You
that's exactly. I think you articulated that really nicely as well, because you're right. It didn't feel right to call it an excuse, because I know we know that excuses are things that mostly related to, you know, derailing and just not being something a part of the process that's going to accompany your goals, or it's going to be serving you. But we know that, at least, or like the way you put it that way, exactly right, is just like finding that when you're feeling like it may be an excuse, but when you know it's probably like it's definitely going to serve your overall, you know, bigger goal, or like, you know, your journey, yeah, long term, or by the bigger picture. That's what I'm trying to say.
So it's all about big picture. Exactly fucking right.
Yeah.
The only thing that we want to also get across with that is that a lot of people take that idea, which is so commonly known, particularly in the athletic sort of world, when people are so into the gym and they're making progress. People that are just starting out on their journey do often take that and run with it. And they're like, oh no, you know, like I got to listen to my body and I got to take a week off the gym because my fucking calves are a bit sore from my walk. It's like, no, motherfucker, that is a surefire way to get nowhere. And every time you go to the gym now, you're going to have to break that barrier again, and you're going to be sore every fucking time. And it's never going to get easier because you only ate 20 grams of protein yesterday.
That's it.
Because you also weren't hungry, and that was okay.
I think looking at it from the tactical approach, 100%, is that like you always got to look at like face value and like what is being done. If you're doing nothing, and then you fall into that excuse there, it's just like, I think I need this, when these things aren't being done. It's just like you're just falling for your own, I guess, let's be real, falling for your own stupidity.
Literally. And we're talking about...
But we're talking about the shit, yeah.
Yeah, but when we're talking about your ideal version of yourself, which we keep relating back to, that's what you're trying to imitate. That's what you're trying to copy and paste into your life currently. When you're looking at how they handle excuses or how they handle anything, you want to live like that. So when Danny was just talking about, you know, taking a step back from the gym a little bit, taking a step back from some of those habits and putting focus onto other parts of your life, I'm almost certain that ideal version of yourself would be doing that. But it has an awesome relationship with food. That version has an awesome relationship with exercise, and it prioritizes this area of your life. So that when you do need to take a step back for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, you're going on holidays, that is totally okay, because you know that you have a lifestyle to come back to. You know, you have a good results-driven, momentum-based lifestyle that you live day to day, you know, and there's no issues, there's no resistance there, you know, so yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, true.
But I wouldn't look at that shit as excuses. I would just look at that as fucking just part of the process.
Part of the process, you know? Yeah. No, I'm glad I covered this. And hence why we do this pod, you know what I mean? Is like you always propose a bit of an idea, but we want to pull these ideas of like, what is your perspective on it? Because it's like, it's a nice way to think of things differently, especially when it may be concerning for some people that, you know, these real life people, that's probably going to be thinking this way too. And knowing that, I'm just like, you know what, you're not the only one there, and clears, you know, just makes it better for you guys, right?
100%. Like, we're talking about excuses, but also people do go too hard into that, you know, and
I think it's distinguishing which one is actually an excuse and what really isn't.
Yeah. Well. And that takes a lot of understanding yourself and understanding when you were on bullshit, you know, when you are just taking the piss, you know, and sometimes it does take a period of discipline to be able to see what you can actually achieve, you know, which is a dangerous sort of area to play with. Get a coach for that shit. But if you can have a period where you actually are relatively disciplined, then back it off from there, you can actually see what you can achieve and then figure out how to approach your excuses when they do come up, and then find that middle ground. because you don't want to be too far over to the side of like, nothing fucking matters. This is the only thing that matters. It's all or nothing. I need to fucking nail this. But you also don't want to be on the side of, oh, I'm just a bit sleepy today. I'm going to have an extra 3 hours sleep. It's like, you got to find that middle ground where you do have a lifestyle and you can also achieve amazing results.
100%. No, it's exactly right. It works on that spectrum, right? So we've got to meet it in the middle where you can get the best of both worlds. Excuses will always
Cancelled.
come around. We're just going to keep rolling. Excuses are always going to come around. Embrace it. It's going to happen. It's a matter what you do with it. It's a matter of you. So ask yourself those what's and how's. I look to avoid to say the I can't. As soon as you say that, it is self-defeating. The battle's done.
It's always a how can I? How can I do this? It's raining. How can I still go for my walk? I'm tired. How can I still, if I want that extra hour of sleep, that's okay. But how can I still get my exercise in? How can I still make sure I get my food in if I forget my fucking meal prep at work? How can I still make sure I hit those calories or whatever I need to do? How we going there?
Oh, good, man. Not good.
25 minutes, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, pretty good.
I think that's us.
Anything else?
No, you know what?
Any other questions?
Remember that excuses, like you said, it's always going to be there. It's always going to show up, and you have the power, and you do have the power to be able to work with something out of it. Some shit maybe out of your control. Let's embrace that. Also, there is going to be a silver lining in everything, right?
100%. That's a good point, actually. You won't be able to preempt everything. You won't be able to foresee some things coming up in your life that will be a barrier to some of the things you're trying to do. And that's totally fine. But what you want to do is control what you can control. So understand what barriers typically come up day to day, what excuses typically come up week to week, and work around them before they come up. So you're not just a victim to your own bullshit.
It's a fact. It's a fact. Understanding your patterns, understanding what those limitations are for the next time. And then this is that embracing that learning mindset of being able to know yourself and know your shit, know who you are, and also know the version that you want to be.
The virgin you want to be. Is that what you said?
The virgin you want to be?
You got to understand the virgin that you want to be.
I think we'll call it there, my friend.
Yeah, sweet.
Happy days.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. This is Excuses. Do as you will.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Do as you will.
Do as you will with that info.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.